Welcome everyone to Pontus Fathom Hobbies. This is Season 3, Episode 1 of A Song of Ice and Fire tabletop miniature game. We are playing House Stark versus the Nightswatch, and we've got Jor Mormont as our commander, and we've got Robb Stark. So we can imagine this scenario is something like there's some dispute in the north versus the Nightswatch. These guys are in combat. We just had our setup round. We've also got Bowen Marsh and Aemon Targaryen, non-combat units, and we've got Sansa Stark and Catelyn Stark. Let's jump right into turn one. Before we do, a quick shout out to our sponsor channel, Pontus Fathom Press. We've got the full trilogy Disclosure from the Necronomicon Fragment, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Each of these is a standalone book, but they do fit together as part of the larger work, Hermeticism of Hastur, The Necromancy of Nyarlathotep, and the most recently published Alchemy of Azathoth. Go out and check out those books on our bookstore link. It would help to support our channel. You can also go check out our Patreon. On our Patreon page, we've got digital versions of August Moldenhauer's trilogy, The Katu Journals Out of Lovecraft's Providence. There is a digital version of Genealogy of Cthulhu. You can read this for as little as $1, or you can go and check these out on the bookstore as well. Psychoanalysis of Rilliat, Archaeology of Yog-Sothoth. But it's not just Cthulhu. We've got all kinds of content out there, so go check out our bookstore, check out our Patreon. As usual, liking and subscribing here helps with the algorithm. We're also on Rumble and Odyssey, so if you want to get notifications for the next gameplay, hit on that subscribe button, visit our links down below, and thank you as usual for watching. So let's jump right into this. We're going to start out with the Nightswatch first. We've got our token on round 1, and let's go into this. So first off, we've got some actions going on. So we'll start out with our maneuver phase. We'll do our marches, we'll do our initial actions, and then we'll start out with our Night's Watch, and then we'll move on to our House Stark. So let's start out here with we're going to have these sworn brothers. They're going to do a normal march, so they can do march 2 double speed. So the sworn brothers have a 5, so we can place these guys at a 10. So let's just do the 10 here, and then they get a pivot afterwards, so we can slide these guys all the way here. And they're going to intersect with an objective card, which was sort of right beneath them. Let's put it there for now. And then they get a pivot. I think that they're just going to pivot right into that space. So that'll be for those guys. And let's just see what that objective is. It says, when you claim this objective, target one enemy NCU, and while you control this objective, the NCU loses all abilities. Okay, so we'll leave that there for now. We'll move over to the we'll do a maneuver. So we'll have pivot. We'll have these guys sort of do a pivot like this, and they will do these are our Ranger trackers. They get a 6. So let's just have them kind of move the 6 here, and then they'll pivot again to here. Okay, that's our Ranger trackers have moved. Next up, let us have our we'll have our Ranger hunters. They also get to move 6, but we're going to do this as a march as well. So they will also get 12. And then they can pivot here, so we'll just place them pivoted like this. And finally, we will give our veterans of the watch a normal maneuver, they get a 5. So they'll pivot like this, and they're going to kind of come up behind here, and then they're also going to pivot here. So they're going to try to make it through this space, but they'll lag behind somewhere. Okay, so that's going to be the movements for our that's the movements for our Knights of the Watch. We also have to look at our we also have to grab our tactical cards here. Let's just take a look at these. Night gathers, the fire that burns against the cold, and now his watch has ended. Okay, so these are pretty cool. Let's just leave these on the board here. Okay, let's flip over to our, and let's just show you guys. I know we've seen these before, but I'll place this here. These are our veterans of the watch. Here's Jor of Mormont. I've got the painting video of these if you'd like to go check it out. The link will be below. Maybe I'm going to start to try to put the links in the actual video. I'm going to go through some of the old videos and do that. Okay, so let's go on to our Stark, Team Stark. And these guys are actually should be moved back here, actually. So let me just move them back. I'm going to go ahead and start with our Stark Sworn Swords under the command of a Sworn Sword Captain. They will also do a march and a pivot for 5. So they will come up 5, pivot like this. You'll also have, let's give our Dire Wolf is going to do a maneuver. So Dire Wolf is going to pivot, going to do its 6, and then do a pivot, and then come up behind here. So Dire Wolf will pivot into this spot. Next up, let's have our Stark Outriders. Let's just read these Stark Outriders here, because we'll kind of do highlights on each turn. While not built for a sustained melee engagement, House Stark's Outriders rarely find themselves encumbered. Unfettered mobility is their hallmark, with lightly armored troops and unarmored mounts chosen and trained for speed and calm temperament. While they suffer the usual vulnerability to arrows shared by light troops, Outriders consider archers as natural prey. Outriders can close with them and shatter an unprotected archery line with ease. So that would be kind of interesting to get them across those archers. And I'm sure that I know while we're looking at it, I'm sure our Ranger Trackers, they are archers also. So this is kind of interesting. The Ranger Trackers for the Night's Watch, Ranger Trackers, employ many units of varying skill sets, but their eyes are embodied by the Trackers. As dedicated scouting cavalry, Trackers are charged with providing intelligence on enemy strength, numbers, and location. On the battlefield, their expertise extends to determining enemies in vulnerable positions. Wise commanders will heed their counsel and position troops to exploit such weaknesses accordingly. Okay, cool. So let's have our Stark Outriders. They've got a 6. We'll have them do a 12 move with a pivot. So they'll do not a charge, but a march. So they will come all the way up to 12 and then pivot here. So they'll be like that. And that will leave us to our Crannogman Trackers next. Our Crannogman Trackers will also do a move where they will come up their Crannogman Trackers have a 6. So place them at 6. Pivot like this. Do their 6. And we'll pivot them again here. And then we will have our Rob Stark and his group, they will do a pivot. They will move their. Rob Stark's got sword and swords also. They have a pivot. They will do a 5, and they'll also do a pivot here. So just coming up behind them as these guys move up. And that's going to do it for Season 3, Round 1. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Click on the link over to Round 2. I'll clean up the board. We'll go through the tactics cards. I'm just getting the tactics cards for Stark here. We'll get through these, review them all in Round 2, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys in the next round. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.